the actual money you get, wages, the pounds and pence, are going up quickly. They're going up at 4.7% between April and June compared to April and June last year.
Yeah.
That's the fastest rate of increase for many, many years. But of course, as everyone knows, the cost of living is going up even more.
Yeah.
You got 4-5% increase in wages. You got 9-10% increase in inflation, price rises, the cost of living. So what we call real wages, wages after inflation, after the cost of living rise, are falling, and they're falling at their fastest pace in 20 years, even though the amount of pounds and pence you get is going up. Because everything's more expensive, your real standard of living, what economists call real wages, are falling, and they're falling sharply.
So what's the health of the job market right now?
The health of the job market is that there are lots of jobs, there are lots of vacancies. There are slightly less vacancies, Rosie, than there were 2 or 3 months ago. Now, that's good news, more people are taking those jobs, or it might be that employers, firms are getting nervous, so they're not advertising as much for new people. We don't quite know that yet, we need more data. But the thing is, even though there's lots of vacancies, as many GBNews viewers will tell you, a lot of the jobs are in parts of the country where they're not, or lots of the jobs require skills that they or their kids may not have, unfortunately. So there's what we call a geographic and an occupational mismatch in this country, and has been for years. It's particularly acute now, between where the jobs are and what the jobs are, and where the people are and what they can do.
How much of that has got to do with Brexit, my friend? I ask that. I mean, did we lose a certain sector of the jobs market that we haven't been able to replace?
I think some of it is due to Brexit, in all fairness. However people voted, remain or leave, I think that's undeniably true, that some of this vacancy rate is because of Brexit, particularly in farming. Now, the National Farmers Union, I'll be talking about this more on my show at 1 p.m. The National Farmers Union have said this morning, they've brought out new figures showing records amount of food waste, stuff that we're growing on our farms that we can't harvest or pick, because there aren't enough people to do that.
Yeah.
Now,
it's a travesty, that, isn't it?
Up until 2013, Eamon, a lot of my ancestors, a lot of your ancestors, I don't know about the Holmeses, the Halligans first came to Ireland to pick potatoes in East Anglia from County Mayo. And we have had, over many, many years, an agricultural seasonal worker scheme where people have come from all over Europe, not so much Ireland these days, more from East Europe, but also elsewhere. That scheme ended back in the early 2010s when we had freedom of movement between the European Union and the UK. Now we don't have that because we've done Brexit. That seasonal agricultural worker scheme is now getting back and up and running. But I talk to lots of farmers where I live in East Anglia, and they say that the admin is difficult and we're not quite getting the people through that we need to get through to come and help to pick the crops.
Well, what's the overall outlook then, Liam? I mean, we have a situation where so many, front page of the Mail today, Heathrow Airport, they can't find people to do the jobs that they want, for instance. We've got this employment void, this gap. We've got a lot of jobs. We've got less people looking for those jobs. We've got industry wanting people for the jobs. Where are we at, my friend?
Well, this is, of course, a cost of living crisis, but I'd also say, and I'm not trying to be controversial here, this is also a cost of lockdown crisis, Eamon. If you lock down the economy for 2 years, if you pay people for 2 years not to go to work, don't be surprised when lots of them don't go back to work or don't get back to work the way they were before. There is a lot of controversy, not least in the civil service, but elsewhere, about whether people really are as productive when they're working from home a lot of the time. Now, I think we'd all feel that there should be some balance of work and home life, and perhaps it was too much in one direction before the pandemic, but maybe it's gone back the other way. So there are lots of issues we're still trying to resolve because of lockdown. The whole global economy, let alone just the UK labour market, hasn't quite got back into gear after this global pandemic, after we locked down the world economy. And that's a cause of a lot of this inflation, and it's a cause of a lot of these vacancies.